Boys, today we're going to make very yummy and easy breadsticks. These are the kinds that you guys always loved when you were little boys, and I would make this to serve with goulash or spaghetti, or you can just make them and dip them in some hot spaghetti sauce. That's really good too. So these are incredibly easy. It's going to take you maybe 10 minutes to get them put together. You're going to bake them for another 10 to 12 minutes after that, and they're ready to go. Very easy and very inexpensive. So let's start by talking about our ingredients. You're going to need white all-purpose flour. You're also going to need salt and baking powder. You're going to need 3 tablespoons of melted butter, some Parmesan cheese, and some milk, and also just a little bit of sugar. Let's talk about the tools that you'll need. You're going to need a good mixing bowl and a fork. You're going to need your measuring cups and your measuring spoons, good knife for cutting, and you're also going to need a pan for baking. I'm going to use this Pyrex pan. So what I want you to do, go ahead and preheat your oven to 400, get your ingredients together, and then we're going to get started. Now we're going to get started. So what I've done in my big mixing bowl, I've added 1 1/4 cups of all-purpose flour, and I've added a ½ teaspoon of of salt. Now I'm going to add a ½ teaspoon of the baking powder. So here's my ½ teaspoon. And I'm going to use my fork and kind of stir that in. Then I'm going to go ahead and add the 2 tablespoons of white sugar. That's in there. And then also 1/4 cup of the Parmesan. So I've stirred that in really well, and we're almost done. This is so quick, isn't this? Now to this, I want you to add 2/3 cup of milk. So I use the whole milk. I like that the best for consistency. So there is 1/3 cup. And then there's a 2/3. Okay. And then again with your fork, you're going to mix that up. This is the consistency that should be. So what you're going to do is you're going to mix it with a fork till you don't see any of the dry ingredients. Okay? Go ahead and do that, and then I'm going to show you what mine looks like. Okay, so I mixed all my ingredients, and then what I've done is I've put a little bit of flour on my baking table, and I'm just kind of working the dough a little bit just so it's nice and smooth and elastic. You don't want it sticky. So my nice balls like this, I'm going to use my rolling pin. I'm going to roll it into kind of a rectangle. And the recommended for this is 12 by 4. I'm not sure how you would do that without actually measuring it out. So I'm just going to kind of do it by looking at it and thinking, okay, that looks about right. So this is the size that mine is. I'm just going to move it over there so you have a better look. And then what I'm going to do at this point is I'm going to use a knife, and I'm just going to cut it into nice strips. Okay? So go ahead and do that, and then I'll show you what we're going to do next. And we're almost done. Okay, so I've cut mine into strips, just about this big. And what I've done next is I've poured my melted butter into my pan. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my strips one at a time, and I'm just going to put them in the pan, and I'm going to turn them over so both sides are coated with butter. After I've done that with all my strips, I'm going to go ahead and sprinkle them with the Parmesan cheese. So let me do that, and then I'm going to show you what mine look like. Okay, so here are all of my breadsticks. I put them in the pan. Again, I coated both sides with the butter, and I've sprinkled them with a little extra Parmesan. Now I'm going to pop them in the oven, which I've preheated to 400. I want you to set the timer first for 8 minutes. Let's take a look at 8 minutes, and if they need to be done a little bit longer, then we'll do that after that. But first, let's just try it for 8 minutes and pull them out and see how they look. So I've taken my breadsticks out of the oven, and they are good to go. I've put them on a serving dish. I know that they're nice and baked all the way through because I don't see anything gooey on the sides. Now, if you baked yours at 8 minutes and they still look like they were a little bit kind of not cooked all the way, bake them for another 2 or 3 minutes and then pull them out, see how they look at that time. So I'm going to serve mine with spaghetti, and but you can use one of my previous videos, the one for goulash. And this was so quick and so easy and so inexpensive. And I know it was always one of your favorites when you were little. Well, I miss you, boys. I hope you enjoy the recipe, and I hope you're having a good day. Bye-bye.